Mira has invested her money in two purchases. She purchased a certificate of deposit for AED 20,000 that paid 6% interest per year and invested a 10,000 dirham in mutual funds paying 5% interest per year. What is the total interest earned at the end of the year? So they are asking us the total interest. So what is the total interest she'll be earning? She'll be earning 6% on 20,000. So I'll be writing it as 6% times 20,000 will be the total interest what she earns from this plus 5% on 10,000. So this is what she earns from the mutual funds. So now what is the total interest she is earning? It's a matter of calculator now. Just use it as 6%. You can use a percentage symbol by pressing shift and close bracket. It's there, okay? 6% multiplied by 20,000 plus 5% multiplied by 10,000. This is the total interest what she will be earning at the end of the year. So she will be getting 1700 dirhams as a interest. So I'll be writing it as AED 1700. This is the right answer what I can fill in the blanks. A dress on sale in a shop is marked at $D. During the discount sale, its price is reduced by 15%. Staff are allowed to further 10% reduction on the discounted price. If a staff member buys a dress, what will she have to pay in terms of D? So first calculate what will be the amount she is supposed to pay with a 15% discount. I must say discounted price. Discounted price is what? D dollar minus 15% of its value. So 15% of D. So 15% is same as 0.15. So if you put it as D minus 0.15 D, that you will be getting it as 0.85 times the D amount. This is the amount what a person has to pay after 15% discount. Again, they say that if a staff member buys it, additional 10% discount will be getting on this price. So for the additional discount, so we can say additional discount, what it is gonna be, this amount 0.85 times the D minus 10% of its value will be further reduced 0.85 times the D. So if you take it as, it will be like, after simplifying, it becomes 0.9 times 0.85 times the D. So what will be this one gives us? It gives us 0.765 times the D, matches with option number C. So this is how the questions can be asked. In fact, rather than doing this much solving, what else you can do? As they are saying that the price got reduced by 15%, they're gonna charge just 85% of that amount. On this, further 10% of reduction means they're gonna charge you 90% of that value. So if you multiply the 85% times 90% of D, still you will be getting 0.765 times the D. Either you go with step by step or you just do it in a one shot. At the end, you're gonna get the same answer. At the beginning of a study, a certain culture of bacteria is predicted to increase. A sample of 3,000 bacteria selected from this population reached the size of 3,132 bacteria in 2 hours. Find the hourly growth rate. Use the formula which has been given. A is equals to A0 times e to the power r times t, where A is representing the final amount at the time t, A0 is the initial amount, r is the relative rate of growth or decay, t is the time in hour, and e is the natural logarithm. So what they're asking us, by using this equation and by using the given data, find for r, find out the growth rate. So what all the value has given to us? Initial value, which is A0, 3000, A value, which is going to be 3132. This has been reached after a time of 2 hours. So we are asked to find out what is the value of growth rate, and we need to use this equation. So it's just a matter of calculator. Substitute carefully and use it as shift calc equal that idea to solve the variables. You'll get the answer. So let me type it as it is and see what we're gonna get. So this, as the equation has been given to us, I'll just substitute it like 3132 equal to alpha calc for equal, then A0 is 3000 times shift e to the power, what is the value of r? I don't know, we'll take it as x times 2. Once you're done with that, what should you do? Shift calc equal. That gives me the value of x. That is the value of r, by the way. R is equals to 0.0215. So what I'm getting? So r is equals to 0.0215. What else? 1529 something. 29. So, but question asked us round your answer to the nearest hundreds, and I have to tell the answer in terms of percentage. So this is what I got a value, but how do you convert that into percentage? Whatever the answer you got, you just need to multiply by 100. Converting any number to percentage, just multiply by 100. Okay, so that in what we're gonna go 0.02152 times 100, that gives us 2.152. So that is r equal to 2.152%. As they told us, round it to the nearest hundreds. After rounding to the nearest hundred, r is equal to 2.15%. So I should write it as 2.15 is the right answer to this question. In nature, biological growth is modeled using an exponential equation. To determine the population density of a certain type of non-native plant, the number of plants n in an area at a time t where a and b constants is modeled by the function. So they have given us a function, so which is modeling the number of like non-native plants. N of t is equals to a times b to the power t. The table shows the two values of the functions for a certain non-native plant. So what you can observe, when the time t is 0, so we have a value as 150. When the time t is gonna be 1, we got a value of 450. So referring to this table, we have to choose which is the right equation should be used to predict this. They're asking us which equation can be used to find the number of plants in an area at a time t. So what I supposed to do, from the options what has given, just substitute. When you substitute the value of t as 0, you should get an answer as 150. So look at with that one, we say this choice cannot be the answer. This choice cannot be the answer. Why? Because when you putting the t value as 0, any number to the power 0, it turns to be 1. So 450 multiplied by 1, that gives me 450 as the initial value, but I'm looking for 150. So same way, this also not possible. Now we are left with the two more options. So here when you put a value of t as 0, that gives me 150, because 1 to the power 0 is equals to 1 itself. 1 times 150, that gives me this. Here also 3 to the power 0 also gives us 1. So 150 times 1, that gives me this. Either this one or this one would be the answer. But when you substitute the value of t as 1, I should get answer as 450. So in the first choice here, if you put a t as 1, like 1 to the power still 1, 1 multiplied by 150 is the same. So this is not, then the finally this will be the your answer to choose. So 150 times 3 to the power 1, that is 3. 150 times 3, which gives us the value as 450. So this is the right choice. Table, we have to choose which is the right equation should be used to predict. So this is not, then the finally this will be the your answer. It has shift calc equal that idea to solve the variables, you'll get the answer. So let me type it as it is and see what we're gonna get. So this as the converting any number to percentage, just multiply by 100. Okay, so hundreds after rounding to the nearest hundred are equal to 2.15%. So I should write it as 2.15 is the right answer to this question. We'll be getting on this price. So for the additional discount, they're gonna charge just 85% of that amount. Mira has invested her money in two purchases. She purchased a certificate from this plus 5% on 10,000. So this is what she earns from the mutual funds. So if y is equals to secant x, then y prime of pi by 4 is what? They're asking you to find the derivative of the secant x. See, again, we can use a calculator, and you also need to know from the trigonometry that secant x can be written as 1 by cos x. So why I'm doing so? Because we don't have a direct button for the secant on the calculator. So you need to replace secant with 1 by cos x and put x as pi by 4 in the calculator and find its derivative. You are done. So let's use it here. I just need to type first, go to the derivative, shift button below the alpha, then type it as 1 by what it is, cos alpha x. I'm replacing x here. For what value of x we are talking about? At x equals to pi by 4. Shift pi by 4. Make sure that whenever you are solving the trigonometry with and the derivatives, make sure that your calculator is in radian mode. Otherwise, you'll get a wrong answer. All the trigonometry and its derivatives, whenever we do, calculator should be in radian. So right answer here is option C, that is square root of 2. What is the slope of the line tangent to the graph of the equation below at x equals to 1? Slope is basically the derivative for the given function. And as we are allowed to use a calculator, type this equation as it is in the calculator and substitute x as 1. So you have to find the derivative of it. So how do we going to do that? Shift derivative, that is the button below alpha. Type this equation as it is 6 minus x square, close the bracket, times 1/2 1 by 2 times x square. I'm just typing that equation as it is, plus 1/2, that is, sorry, 1 by x. We're gonna get it as, it should be 1 by x, then close the bracket. At what value they asked us to find the slope? At x equals to 1. So substitute the value of x as 1 at the end. Press it equal, you'll be getting that -3. So slope of the line tangent to this one is equals to -3. B is the right choice. If fx equals to 1 by x squared, then f double prime is equals to what? They are asking you to find the double derivatives. So whenever we have a function in this way, first you have to rewrite it as fx is equals to x to the power -2. As per the exponent, 1 by a to the power x can be written as a to the power -x, because so here we are doing so because we can apply a power rule. Then let's find the first derivative. What does the first derivative says? Apply the power rule, whatever the power, bring it in front, reduce the power by 1, that is -2, -1 becomes -3. Now let's find the second derivative of it. Multiply the power with the coefficient, -2 times -3 is going to be 6, and then reduce the power by 1, -3 turns to be -4 now. So this becomes rewritten as 6 by x to the power 4. We go with the second choice is the right answer to this question. Find limit x approaches to 6 minus absolute of 6 x minus 6 plus 4 equals to. X approaches to 6 minus is talking about we are approaching towards the 6 from the left side, that is the left hand limit. While substituting, you can substitute 6 as it is, that it becomes 6 minus 6 absolute value with plus 4. 6 minus 6 is going to be 0, 0 plus 4, result is going to be 4. So we go with the last choice. Find limit. Limit x approaches to infinity, x cube minus 2x square plus 3 divided by 4x cube plus 5x minus 1. There are three conditions when x is approaching to infinity, and this is one of those. As long the highest power of variable, that is x in the numerator and the denominator is same, their coefficient itself is the result. So coefficient of x cube in the numerator is 1 divided by coefficient of x cube in the denominator is 4. So that is 1 by 4 itself is the answer. There are two such conditions are there. Please make sure that you know them. X comma minus square root of 11 by 6 is a point in quadrant 4 lying on a unit circle. Find x square. A circle is said to be unit if its radius is equals to 1. And the equation of the unit circle is x square plus y square equal to 1. We are asked to find the coordinate x square. So this equation will be rearranged at x square equals to 1 minus y square. Now what is the value of y? This entire thing is representing as a y. Just substitute 1 minus negative square root of 11 by 6 square. Just take a help of calculator. You'll be getting the answer for it. So what it's gonna be? 1 minus bracket negative square root of 11 by 6. Make a square of it. So that gives us 25 by 36. The value of x square here is 25 by 36. In a school, there are 3 girls for every 2 boys. There are 650 students in total. How many of students are girls? This is the type of question based on ratios. How many students we are talking about? There are 3 girls and the 2 boys. The total, we are talking about the 5 students. Out of 5, 3 are girls. So the ratio of girls to the student is 3 by 5. And to find the total number of girls out of 650, multiply that ratio by 650. So that gives us the value. There are 390 students which are girls out of 650 with the condition 3 girls out of 2 boys. So we go with the first choice, that is 390. Use the graph below to answer the question that follows. Select the interval for which the function is increasing. So look at the options here between -1 and 1. What happening to the function? X is -1 here and 1. During that interval, the function is decreasing. So this is wrong. In the second option, between 5 and 7, x is 5 and x is 7 here. During that interval, function is no change. It's a straight line. And between -5 and -2, x equals to -5 is here. So the function's value here and -2 is this point. And what I can observe here, during that interval, function is increasing. So this is the right choice. Find the value of cosecant 120 degree. So we know that on the calculator, cosecant option is not available, but we can see that cosecant theta can be written as 1 by sine theta. So when they ask you to find out the value of cosecant 120, you can simply write it as 1 by sine of 120. Make sure that your calculator should be in the degree mode because angle has given in degree. So you just need to put it in the calculator. So 1 by sine of 120, that gives me the value as 2 square root of 3, which can also be written as 2 root 3 by 3. So that is, we go with the second option here. Simplify I to the power 8 plus I to the power 9 plus I to the power 10 plus I to the power 11 is. So which of the option will be the right choice here? So I is representing an imaginary term and whose value is square root of -1. And remember one thing, whenever the power of i's are consecutive numbers like 8, 9, 10, 11, or it could be like a consecutive even numbers, maybe like let's take I to the power 2 plus I to the power 4 plus I to the power 6 plus I to the power 8, or even consecutive odd numbers like I to the power 1, 3, 5, 7. Whenever we are adding 4 such terms, definitely we'll be getting the result as 0 for it. So some calculator supports to solve, but some doesn't. If they are supporting it like a Casio ClassWiz 991EX, that calculator supports, you can put it as it is and get the answer. A right circular cone with a radius of 3 cm has a slant height of 5 cm. A right cylinder with a radius of 4 cm has a height of 6 cm. What is the number of full cones of water needed to completely fill in the cylinder with water? They're asking us, if you fill this circular cone with the water and if you put it into this cylinder, how many cones are needed to fill the cylinder? That's what they're asking. To do so, we should find what is the volume of the cone and find what is the volume of the cylinder and divide by it. Okay. So for the cone, they have given us a slant height of 5 and the radius of 3. With that, we can find out what would be the height of the cone. So height of the cone will be 4. Either you can use a Pythagorean theorem, that is c square is equals to a square plus b square, or you can remember Pythagorean triples. 3 number which always comes in the pair as a Pythagorean triples are 3, 4, 5, and there are many. You can remember in that way. So what is the volume of the cone then? Volume of the cone is, the formula will be given to us, which is going to be 1/3 pi r square h. Find it up. 1/3 times pi times radius of the cone here you can see, which is 3 square, and height of the cone is going to be 4. That gives us 12 pi. Similarly, find out the volume of the cylinder. As all the values has been given to us, volume of the cylinder is pi r square h. Substitute that pi times radius of the cylinder is 4 and height of the cylinder is 6 centimeter. So it's 4 square times 6, that gives us 96 pi. Question is, how many cones can be put in so that the cylinder get filled up? To know the number of cones, you have to do volume of the cylinder divided by volume of the cone. So if you divide that, that is 96 pi divided by 12 pi, the result is going to be 8. So we say that there are 8 cones of water should be put it in the cylinder to make it full. So answer to this one is 8. A construction company is building a new villa development with the property of each house measuring 30 meters wide. If the length of the road is 345 meters, how many villas can be built on the road? So the total length is 345 meters and the width of each villa is 30 meters. So how many can be built? Just divide 345 by 30, that gives us 11.5. And you have to choose the integer number because we cannot build 11.5 villas, 11 and a half villa. We have to say there are total 11 complete villas will be built. So we go with last option, that is option D. A construction company is building a new villa development with the property of each house measuring 30 meters wide. If the length of the road is 345 meters, how many villas can be built on the road? So the total length of the road is 345 and the width of the each villa is gonna be 30 meters. So how many number of villas can be built? Just divide 345 by 30, you'll be getting it as 11.5. So number of villas built will be 11, not 11.5. Okay, so villas are the integer numbers. You cannot take you can't build 11 and half villas to build it as completely. So we have to go with option D. What does the t equal if a times e to the power bt is equals to c, provided a, b, c are positive? So let me rewrite this equation. A times e to the power bt equals to c. Now to make the term e to the power bt alone, so let's divide both the side by a. Then this expression become e to the power bt is equals to c by a. Now there is a rule here. So ln times e to the power x, for example, that is equal to x itself. When the ln and e together, whatever the power, you write it as it is. You can apply the same rule here. So if you put it as ln e to the power bt is equals to ln c by a, so that is ln and e get cancelled out and it becomes bt is equals to ln c by a. Now we are asked to solve for t, so divided by b on the both side, then you will be getting t is equals to ln c by a divided by b. That is the last choice. Option D is the right answer to this question. Solve the equation square root of 2x plus 7 minus 5 equal to 0. You can straightforward put it directly in the calculator. You'll be getting answer. So while typing it as, you should follow that shift solve calc, whatever approach we use. Let me type it as square root of 2 alpha x plus 7 come out of the square root negative 5 alpha calc equal to 0. Now once you're done with that, just press it on the button shift calc then equal, you'll be getting the answer. Here value of x here is equals to 9, so 9 is the right choice. Which of the following is an equivalent to the expression shown below if x is not 0? They're asking us which of the following options are equivalent to these expressions. It's basically addition or subtraction of fractions, and we know whenever we add or subtract a fraction, the first thing is we have to make a denominators to be same. So if you see 3 divided by x plus 5u by 2x minus u by 4, they have different denominators. So how do we make it as same? As you can see that x and 4 are completely different. To make them as a common denominator, multiply first term with 4. If you are multiplying here, do it in the numerator as well. Multiply here with x. If you are doing in the denominator, do it with the numerator as well. So now 4x and 4x becomes the denominator, but in the middle term we have just 2x. To make it that also 4x, multiply 2. If you are doing in the denominator, do the same thing in the numerator as well and rewrite it as 4 times 3 is going to be 12 plus 2 times 5u is going to be 10u
minus ux, that is what the numerator, divided by common denominator, which is 4x. So once the denominators are same, I just write only once. That matches with which option? 12 plus 10u uh, minus ux divided by 4x, that is matching with the last choice, that is option D. So we go with this one is the right choice here. A survey about television viewing preferences was given to randomly selected year 1 and year 4 students at a college. The results are shown below. Sports viewed by 83 students who are from year 1 and viewed by 119 students who are from year 4. Likewise, they have also shown for reality shows and also for comedy series. What exactly probability that the students is a year 1 student given the student preferences to watch reality shows on television? Now question is about the reality shows, and among that total number of people who watched the reality shows, what is the probability of the student who are from year 1? So it's basically probability is basically the possible outcome divided by total. In total, how many people have watched reality shows? 110 plus 103, that gives us 213. So probability of year 1 student is becomes 110 divided by 213. Which statement explains why the point minus 2 comma 2 is the solution to the system of linear equations shown below? The graph of system of linear equation has been shown to us, and minus 2 comma 2 is the point where the two lines are intersecting. So that is the point minus 2 comma 2. And what is this shows? If the two lines are intersecting at one point, then we say that kind of systems has one solution, or I can also use the another word as the lines are consistent independent. So I should select the option which has including the word as one solution or consistent independent. So which option gives us the same statement what we supposed to? Yes, that is last one. It is the only point that satisfies both equations are simultaneous. That is also another word to say the given system of equation has one solution. So we go with the statement which of the following is equivalent to the expression below after it is simplified. So here they have given us an expression. So let's simplify it and see whichever matches with this. Let me rewrite it. So 5x square minus 3x plus 4. I am avoiding the bracket. But in the second term, this negative sign is common for the each and every term here. So negative multiplied by 2x square is going to be negative 2x square. Negative times negative 7, it's going to be positive 7. So now let's combine the like terms. 5x square minus 2x square, it's gonna be 3x square plus 5 minus 2, that gives us 3. And here it is only one term of x, which is negative 3x plus 4 plus 7, it's gonna be plus 11. So which is matching with the answer choice, first one. Identify the graph of the solution for the system of inequalities shown below. So the two system of equations with inequalities has been shown, and they are asking us to recognize the graph for those. Now to recognize the graph, so I should know how to roughly sketch those graphs. So while sketching the graph, it's better to convert this standard equation of inequality into slope intercept form, which is in the form of y is equals to mx plus b, where m represents the slope and b represents y intercept. How do we do that? Take this x to the other side, then this equation becomes y is less than or equal to negative x positive 6, which is same as negative 1 x positive 6. So that shows slope is minus 1 and y-intercept is plus 6. Similarly, rearrange this equation by taking x to the other way around, then it's going to be 2y less than or equal to negative x positive 8. As we have to make only y alone, so divide by 2 to each term in that entire expression, then it becomes y is less than or equal to negative half x positive 4. So what I'm getting, slope here is negative half and y-intercept is positive 4. So you can see that the both the equation what we got has a negative slope, and the graph of the line when you sketch the slope negative will be falling from left to right. So one of the line we have slope y-intercept as positive 6, then definitely this will be the one of the line here. I can say this is the point where I'm talking about the first equations like. So y-intercept is positive 6 and the graph has to be shaded below that region. And there is another line whose y-intercept is positive 4. So positive 4 is the, let me just make a roughly here, and the line would be something like this. So again, the graph of this line will be below because y is less than or equal to. Now, what is the solution to the graph of inequality? The common region of the graph where they are overlapping. So this is the region for which the graph should have a solution. And importantly, what another thing I observe, one of the line has y-intercept as positive 6, another line has y-intercept as positive 4. Now look at to the options what has given. Definitely choice A is not the choice because those both line are representing positive slopes. And option B could be, but here one of the lines showing y-intercept as positive 6, but another saying positive 8, which is wrong. Option C is also wrong. Then definitely choice D is the right answer. You can see that the y-intercept for the line, one is going to be positive 6 and another point here is going to be positive 4. That shows that this is the right choice for the inequality shown. Identify the graph of the solution for the system of inequalities shown below. So the two system of equations with inequalities has been shown and they are asking us to recognize the graph for those. Now to recognize the graph, so I should know how to roughly sketch those graphs. So while sketching the graph, it's better to convert this standard equation of inequality into slope intercept form, which is in the form of y is equals to mx plus b, where m represents the slope and b represents y-intercept. How do we do that? Take this x to the other side, then this equation becomes y is less than or equal to negative x positive 6, which is same as negative 1 x positive 6. So that shows slope is -1 and y-intercept is plus 6. Similarly, rearrange this equation by taking x to the other way around, then it's going to be 2y less than or equal to negative x positive 8. As we have to make only y alone, so divide by 2 to each term in that entire expression. Then it becomes y is less than or equal to negative half x positive 4. So what I'm getting, slope here is negative half and y-intercept is positive 4. So you can see that the both the equation what we got has a negative slope, and the graph of the line when you sketch the slope negative will be like falling from left to right. So one of the line we have slope y-intercept as positive 6, then definitely this will be the one of the line here. I can say this is the point where I'm talking about the first equations, like, so y-intercept is positive 6 and the graph has to be shaded below that region. And there is another line whose y-intercept is positive 4. So positive 4 is the, let me just make a roughly here, and the line would be something like this. So again, the graph of this line will be below because y is less than or equal to. Now, what is the solution to the graph of inequality? The common region of the graph where they are overlapping. So this is the region for which the graph should have a solution. And importantly, what another thing I observe, one of the line has y-intercept as positive 6, another line has y-intercept as positive 4. Now look at to the options what has given. Definitely choice A is not the choice because those both line are representing positive slopes. And option B could be, but here one of the lines showing y-intercept as positive 6, but another saying positive 8, which is wrong. Option C is also wrong. Then definitely choice D is the right answer. You can see that the y-intercept for the line, one is going to be positive 6 and another point here is going to be positive 4. That shows that this is the right choice for the inequality shown. During PE class, Lena recorded the exercise time in minutes and heart rates in beats. They're talking about which table represents the linear model. What do you mean by linear? Linear is something the data increases with a constant. During PE class, Lena recorded the exercise time in minutes and heart rates in beats per minute of four of her classmates. Which table represents a linear model of exercise and heart rate? They're talking about which table represents the linear model. What do you mean by linear? Linear is something the data increases with a constant, a fixed value. If you observe the four tables what has given, answer choice is the first one. Why I'm saying so? Because if you look at here, the data is increasing by fixed one. First 60, then 65, 65 to 70, 70 to 75, then 80. Every time numbers are increasing by plus 5. But if you look at to the others, they are not increasing with a fixed value. Those are represented as non-linear. So the linear model is the one which is option A. So we should select this as the right answer to this question. This is a part of EmSAT Achieve Math Test statistics. I have already applied and his team wins the match. Now, probability of watching the TV is whether the match wins or lose is not depending on the Mohammed watching it or not. So these two tasks are independent. So usually say for the independent event, apply them together, you will be getting it as 0.15. That is option number. What is the probability that the Majid wins exactly 2 times 1 minus p to the power n minus r? This is the form meaning the match, which is 1 by 4 to the power 3 minus 2, which is 1 by the. So you have to remember this formula to answer such question. This is a combination of independent and mutually exclusive events. Let's work on question number 3 here. If the probability that it will rain, it's gonna be 1/3. Probability of raining on Tuesday. Hey guys, welcome back once again. In today's session, we're gonna discuss about chapter number 2, that is probability and standard deviation. So this is a part of EmSAT Achieve Math Test statistics. I have already uploaded the new videos on the first chapter, that is data types and percentages. If you have not gone through it, please follow the link given in the description box below and you can watch it. And also share, subscribe to my channel so that whenever I upload a new videos, you will be notified. So let's start with the first question here of probability. That is, the probability that the Muhammad will watch the match on TV is 0.7 and the probability that his team wins is 0.5. What is the probability that Mohammed will not watch the match and his team wins the match? Now, probability of watching the TV is 0.7, then probability of not watching the TV, what will be that? That is gonna be 0.3, or which can also say 1 minus 0.7, which gives us 0.3. Probability of not watching is 0.3 and probability of winning, that is gonna be 0.5, and these are independent event. Whether the match wins or lose is not depending on the Mohammed watching it or not. So these two tasks are independent. So usually say for the independent event, to get the probability, you just need to multiply it. So that is probability of not watch is 0.3, multiply with probability of winning the match is going to be 0.5, multiply them together, you will be getting it as 0.15. That is option number D. Question number 2 here is, Majid can either win or lose when he playing a game. The probability that the Majid wins a game against any one of his friends is 3 by 4. So probability of winning the game is 3 by 4. What is the probability that the Majid wins exactly 2 out of next 3 games? So this is a combination of independent and dependent event. So there is a certain formula to answer to such questions. So the probability of winning the game is 3 by 4. I also need to know what is the probability of not winning the game. Always to find the opposite, which is not winning, always I have to do 1 minus the probability of winning the game. That is 1 minus 3 by 4. What are you gonna get? It's gonna be 1 by 4. This is the chance of not winning the game. Now he says the Majid wins exactly 2 matches out of next 3. So the value of R here is gonna be 2 and the value of the total number of times the game played is gonna be 3. R and N, I am using that as per the formula. Okay, there is a formula to answer such question. What it is? See, probability of the combination of independent and the dependent event is P is equals to N CR times P to the power R times 1 minus P to the power N minus R. This is the formula, and which will not be given in exam, but they commonly ask you question based on this. Here I need to substitute the values. So n is what? 3. Combination of r value is 2 here, times probability of winning the match is 3 4 to the power 2, times probability of not winning the match, which is 1 by 4 to the power 3 minus 2, which is 1 by the way. Just substitute in the calculator. Where do we get that combination? Just by using a calculator. I'll typing it as 3 shift division sign. You can see that above it has written NCR. So I'm using this one. R value here it is 2 times. What is the combination? I mean, this is about the combination. Then probability of winning is going to be 3 by 4 to the power 2 times probability of not winning is 1 by 4 to the power 1, or I can say that itself it is equivalent to 0.140, or in fraction we are getting it as 9 by 64. This is 9 divided by 64 is the probability of this overall, which I go with option C. So you have to remember this formula to answer such question. This is a combination of independent and mutually exclusive events. Let's work on question number 3 here. If the probability that it will rain sometime on Monday is 1/3 and independent probability that it will rain sometimes on Tuesday is 1 by 2. Now, what is the probability that it will rain on both days? Raining on Monday and raining on Tuesday are independent event. And whenever I'm saying independent, you just need to multiply. Let's take probability of raining on Monday, it's gonna be 1/3. Probability of raining on Tuesday, it's gonna be half. Now, what is the probability that it will rain on both days? It's gonna be probability of Monday times the probability of Tuesday. Whenever there are independent event, just multiply. That is 1/3 times 1 by 2. We get a probability as 1 by 6, which is option A. 1 by 6 is the probability of happening this task. Let's work on question number 4 here. A math class has 1 girl and 4 boys in a 7th grade and 4 girls and 4 boys in 8th grade. The teacher randomly selects a 7th and 8th grade from the class for a competition. What is the probability that the students he selects are both boys? Now, what is the probability of boys indirectly? Now, if you look at in the probability of the grade 7, probability of grade 7, how many students are boys? There are 4 boys and 1 girl. Probability of selecting from the grade 7 is going to be 4 out of total 5 students. Similarly, probability of selecting boys from the grade 8, how many are there? In the 8th grade, there are 4 boys and 4 girls. The probability of boys here will be 4 out of 8, which is same as 1 by 2. Now, question is, what is the probability that the students he selects are both boys? So, probability of grade 7 times the probability of grade 8, because it's an independent event. Selecting from the grade 7 and the grade 8 are independent, so we should multiply their probabilities. That is same as 4 by 5 times 1 by 2. So which we are getting it as 8 divided by 10, which is same as 4 divided by 10, which is same as 2 by 5. As they say, question says, put your answer in the simplest form. Your answer should be 2 by 5 is the right choice here. That's it for the today's session. I'll be coming soon with the next video. Please do like, share and subscribe so that you will be notified whenever I upload a new videos. All right. Thank you so much. See you soon. Use the figure below to answer the question that follows. Which function below can be used to find the volume of the difference between the inner and the outer cylinder? Question asking you to find the volume of the difference between the inner and the outer cylinder. Basically, they're asking you to find the volume of this space in between. Okay, so I just need to use the formula for volume of the cylinder, which will be given to us. Volume of the cylinder is pi r square h, that is pi times radius square multiplied with the h. We know that in this case height is 12. This is representing h for both the cylinder. Outer cylinder radius, let me assign it as r. It's gonna be 100 millimeter, 10 millimeter, and the inner cylinder radius is just r. So what is the difference between their volume? I can say that volume of the outside cylinder, which is gonna be pi r square h, minus the volume of the inside cylinder, which is gonna be pi r square h. If you take it as pi and h as a common out, pi times h is the common, that is r square minus r square is the difference what we left. H value is 12. If you substitute h as 12, so 12 multiplied by pi becomes 12 pi, and substitute for capital R what we assigned as 10, 10 square minus r square, which is gonna be 12 pi. 10 square is gonna be 100 minus r square. So that is matching with the first choice. This is how you can find the volume difference between the outside and inside cylinder. Given the equation below, Q is equals to 2x plus 2r, identify the equivalent equation in terms of x. Question asking you indirectly solve for x, and this is the one of the commonly tested question in EmSAT Achieve Math Test. So let me rewrite this one. 2x plus 2r is equal to q. We are asked to solve for x. Keep the x term alone and try to take the other letters, variables to the other side by changing the sign. Then it will be written as 2x is equals to q minus 2r. Now we have to make x alone, so we need to cancel the 2 here. So for that, divide by 2. If you are dividing on the left side, you must also divide by 2 on the right side as well. So 2 and 2 get cancelled. So finally we are getting x equals to q minus 2r divided by 2, which is the first option here. A particle moving along with the x-axis so that at any time t is greater than or equal to 0, its velocity is given by the equation below. What is the acceleration of the particle at time t equals to 5? So we are asked to find the acceleration from the velocity. You just need to differentiate the velocity to get acceleration. As we are allowed to use a calculator, use the calculator like shift derivative of, type that equation as it is, 6 divided by x plus 3. At what value we supposed to find? At the value of t is equals to 5. So substitute it as 5. In the calculator, we always do it in terms of x, whether the equation has given in terms of t, z, k, regardless, while working on the calculator, take it as x only. So we are getting answer as minus 3 by 32, which is option B.